excited about today's topic because it's, as always, I'm very passionate about it, and it's very powerful. And I think it might be one of the key ingredients to success of life, right? Of key ingredients of having this awesome experience as a human being. So I'm super excited to talk about it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, I'm super grateful to be here, to be able to talk to you all. I'm super grateful for your time. I'm super grateful for all of you who follow me, for your support, and for just having me as part of your life in this moment in time right now. I'm super grateful. I'm grateful for everything that I have, that it just makes me be able to live this beautiful life. I'm grateful for my body, for my life, for my experiences, for my knowledge, for everything, and for every single one of you. So thank you so much for joining this live. I really think you're gonna enjoy this one, and you're here for a reason. And I want to share this message that I am so passionate about. And today's topic is, as you probably saw, is called viewing life, right, from a different lens, or understanding the lens in which you view life is really going to be the main thing that I want to be talking to you guys about. But before I go to hydrate, because I get really excited when it comes to these. If you've been to my lives, you know this. I just go, because I get super into it. So I'm gonna drink some water. And here we go. All right. So, if you're returning to, if you're one of my followers, you've been to one of my lives, and you probably already know my story. If you don't, you can check out my story on YouTube, or if you follow me on Instagram, I share some of that there. But I have gone through a lot of things in my life that has led me to where I am today. I'm really proud of where I am today. I've worked very hard, and I'm not talking about abundance. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about success, all that side of the house. I'm more so talking about fulfillment, happiness, peace, joy, love, all of those things, right, that really have made my experience in this world, and continue to make my experience in this world so peaceful. And ultimately that has allowed me to help so many people from around the world. And this is why I do what I do now, which is I'm a life coach. So it wasn't always like this, right? And if any of you have gone through some deep depression, or maybe you currently are, you know that the struggle is really, really tough, and it can be really dark to be in this place. But everybody has a different way of getting out of it, or some of you a different way of dealing with it. And one thing that I learned, right, is that everything that we see through these two beautiful eyes that we all have gets interpreted, right, by our minds, and by our experiences, and our exposures, and our fears, and our ideas of what is right and what is wrong, and all this stuff gets like a filter. And then we determine, right, what is that we're gonna be doing from that point on, right? So at that point is how we choose to view life, right? So if you're going through some darkness, if you're going through some anxiety, depression, whatever it is, like I suffer with PTSD from when I was in the Marines, even before that, and then I suffer with depression and anxiety, right? And it all kind of just hit at me at once. I lost everything, and I was in such a deep hole that I didn't know how to get out of it. And I was married at the time. I got divorced because I was in such a shitty place, and my lenses, my perspective on life was dark. It was very, very dark. And you know what changed? You know what got me out of that? It was a decision. A decision that I didn't want to experience that anymore. That I didn't want to wake up feeling like shit every single day. Or, you know, I used to drink myself to sleep. You know, I'm very open, guys. I'm very raw and I have nothing to hide, you know. And I went through some things that I'm not so proud of, you know, dealing with this struggle. I had night terrors. I would wake up like covered in sweat. It really was pretty bad for me. So I didn't know how to feel better. I didn't know how to get out of that. And I'm giving you guys an extreme example so you can understand, right? How something so extreme that it was for me, how I got out of that. By just simply understanding this is what the one thing that I'm talking about, which is really accepting the fact that you can change your life, that you can change your perspective and your relationship with happiness. You can change your perspective and your relationship with love, right? You can change your perspective and your relationship with yourself. And it starts really there. It really does. And everything else that we experience, the people who are shitty to us, the jobs that we hate, and all this negative things that don't fulfill us, that don't do anything good for us, right? All of those things are simply reminders, right? Reminders to ourselves in giving us the opportunity to change what we don't like about our lives. But that's something that you have to be willing to look at like that, right? If you sit there and you just complain about it, like, what is that doing for you? It doesn't do anything, right? You just complain about it and you hate it, and you know, you don't know how to get out of it. It's a lot of people struggle with this. But if you just start to just appreciate the things that you do have, stop worrying about the future, right? To an extent, stop worrying about the past. That's done, you can't change it. And just focus on right now, on this moment, and looking and choosing to say, you know what am I grateful for? What is great about my life? Wow, I'm grateful that I get to just be alive for once, right? And really like think about that. I'm grateful that I get to breathe, that I have eyes to see and ears to hear, and I'm able to really live in this beautiful life. And I'm grateful that I am not starving, that I have food in my belly. And when you start to do that, you start to focus more on the things that you do have at this moment, and on the positive things. And you start to focus on really just feeling good with what you do have. And when you do that, it automatically starts to change your reality of the outside world and within you, because you are choosing to really go into a place of gratitude, go into a place of, you know what, I'm not going to think about the past. I'm not going to worry about the future. I'm just going to live in this moment and be in this moment with gratitude and just happiness with the things that I can control. And you will be surprised what that does. You will be surprised what that does. And if you haven't tried it, you don't know this, but guess what? It doesn't cost you a dime to try this. All it costs you is to change of perspective. All it costs you is to let your ego down and just say, you know what? I'm just going to give this a try. What do you have to benefit from this? Everything. Freedom, change of perspective, opportunity, right? Appreciation. And when you elevate yourself as a human being with yourself first, your whole world, your reality elevates with you. And you're able to show up in the world in a much better way, ladies and gentlemen. I can't even emphasize on that enough. If you ever met somebody who just is, or maybe know somebody who's just really upset, or maybe they're just very serious, or they're very angry individuals, or whatever it is, do you ever wonder why they're that way? Do you ever wonder that maybe they're just hurting a lot, And that's how they're dealing with their pain. And instead of dealing with it, they're fighting with it. So they're angry, and they're angry with society because inside of themselves, they're angry. And because they're not dealing with it, they're passing that pain to other people. And that is what I want to stop. I want everybody to please understand that when someone is nasty to you, to breathe and say, you know what, that person is in a place that it's not good, and they don't feel good about themselves, or they're struggling or things like that. I am not gonna lower my vibration to that level. That stops right here, stops with me, and I'm not gonna continue that pain. I'm not gonna keep passing it on by being nasty back or by being nasty to somebody else. And instead I'm gonna keep my vibration high, and I'm gonna say, you know what? I really, really, really hope that they can feel better, and ignore those people, right? And that simple example, right, of just choosing to look at things from an angle of more love and peace and positivity will reduce your stress. And by reducing your stress, you feel better about yourself. And by feeling better about yourself, you'll be able to show up for your family, for your job, and for other circumstances in your life with a lot better attitude. But it's all a sequence of choices. But it comes down to a single choice of you saying, I want to change the way I look at my life. Not at life, but at my life. And take responsibility for that, right? Take responsibility for that, and know that it is your choice to focus on negativity. It is your choice to focus on the things that you don't have, or the things that you don't like. But it's also your choice to focus on the things that you do have, and the things that you do like, right? The future will come, ladies and gentlemen. And like I say in my video, the past is the past, but right now, this is it. This is the most real thing about being a human being. It's this moment in place, the now. So just when you have those thoughts going through you, or you're feeling down, or you're feeling like anxious, or maybe a little frustrated with life, just take a deep breath and just think about something that you're just grateful for. And that's gonna snap you out of it, right? It's gonna snap you out of it, and it's gonna help you. It's not gonna happen overnight, because we're creatures of habits, and subconsciously you've made it a habit to think, in this unhealthy way of thinking negativity, or always finding what's wrong with things or with people. But you have to just do this number, just pivot. The beautiful thing about human beings, we're extremely adaptable. I live with 3 words that I learned from the Marines: improvise, adapt, and overcome. Those 3 words, if you can just live with by those 3 words, you will be able to overcome anything, achieve and supersede any challenge that comes to you. By improvising and knowing that things in life are going to pop, things in life are going to come your way. You have to improvise, right? And that sort of mentality is gonna make sure you don't get stuck, right? You're like, okay, this didn't work out, it's all right. We're gonna do something else. You're gonna adapt to the situation. Sometimes the universe has different plans for us, or if you believe in God, whatever you believe in, has a different plan for you, has a different path for you. And oftentimes, maybe we don't understand it and we want to resist it. But then we realize, wow, like that was what was best for me. It turned out to be a good thing. So adapt to your situations and then overcome them, because life is full of challenges. They're just going to be there, but they're challenges. They're just that. They're obstacles. It's an opportunity for you to go through them so you can learn a new skill and you can elevate yourself. You can elevate your vibration. You can elevate your intelligence, your emotional intelligence, right? And all of that will serve you and being able to really understand yourself from a deeper level. But that's a perspective that you have to be willing to explore. You have to be willing to look at the glass when it's pretty empty and say, you know what, I can fill this up. If I just really think about this, and if I believe that I can do the things necessary to fill my cup or my glass to where I want it to be or need it to be. But that's a perspective, right? That is a perspective that we have to be open to. But if you say, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, there's no way I can do this, and there's no way I can do that, that's not possible for me, and people can do that, but it's not for me, this and that. Like all that talk, that self-talk, isn't doing you justice, isn't doing you anything good, right? So why do it? Why do that? People want happiness, but they don't believe that they can achieve the things that they think makes them happy. But do you really understand what happiness even means to you? What feeling is it attached to happiness? Right? Some people don't even know that. Some people spend a lifetime chasing happiness, thinking that it's some materialistic or some money amount or some house or some car or some bullshit like that. But they get those things and then they're like, oh, it's not that, right? So what is happiness? So changing the lens in which you look at life, it will make the biggest difference. Understanding what lens are you using to look at your life, right? Okay, so I'm going to read some of your comments because I am really far behind. Wow, there's a lot of them. I love this. Okay, having a positive attitude is key to a healthy, successful life, 100%. Do you support LGBT? Yes, I support all races, all sexual orientations. I support everybody that when it comes to that stuff. I feel like there's always somebody asking me that. Is it okay to fail sometimes? It's okay to and it is okay to fail sometimes. You won't always be on top, but it's important to stand back up. Yeah, I mean, my relationship with failure has changed a lot, and I don't really look at like as a failure. I look at it, I changed it to opportunity. So when something didn't go the way I wanted to, or when I didn't accomplish something the way I wanted to, or things didn't go the way I don't look at it as failure. I look at it as like an opportunity for me to learn about that situation. And yeah, sometimes it hurts, especially when you have emotions attached to it. But again, it's like, okay, well, am I going to stay in this level, in this vibrational field, in this perspective, in these thoughts, in this pool of thoughts that do me no justice? Or will I learn from this, understand that it's a learning opportunity, and elevate myself to do something else, to improvise, adapt, and overcome to something else, right? So yes, I agree with you 100%. Jessica says, this is so true. I have been a little down, and today I choose to be positive and found your page. Thank you so much. I'm glad that this is helpful and good for you, and thank you so much for joining my page. Really appreciate it. Know your worth and stay away from the negativity. Yeah, knowing your worth is something I want to, absolutely emphasize on. A lot of people don't know that. That gets thrown out a lot, but a lot of people don't know their worth, and it's because of their fears. And I think a lot of people live with a lot of fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough, fear of what people might think, or being themselves, and judgment, and all this other stuff. And that fear really hinders you from knowing and feeling your true worth and your feeling and your potential and everything that you're able to do as a human being, because you're afraid to accept who you are because you're afraid of judgment or whatever have you. So absolutely, but I do agree with that 100%. Sandy says I go through that sometimes, but I try to go on with my life. Yeah, I mean, things that come, I always tell my clients, don't fight it, but understand it. There's a big difference between, I know some people, some folks out there, and I don't have anything against these people. There's just different styles, but I don't believe in fighting your thoughts. I believe in understanding them. And when you don't fight them, you don't have to put that extra energy to just make it go away, which can be really like hectic and annoying and stressful. But instead just say, okay, I'm not gonna fight this, I'm gonna understand it, and then I'm gonna let it go, right? There's a difference between fighting and letting go. So yeah, when those thoughts come in, just be like, why do I feel this way? And make sure you don't go in the funnel of thoughts, of negative thoughts, and just say, you know what, this doesn't resonate with me, and I really don't want to think this way, but I appreciate why, and I understand why this is coming up, and I'm going to change that. So having awareness of yourself, of your thoughts, and how you think throughout the day, and it's extremely important. Learning to live. Yeah, learning to live is, they don't teach it in any school that I've been. So unless you go to unless you major in like psychology or sociology or things like that, then you learn to understand, right, behavior mostly. But learning to live is such an individual path, and there's so many things that attribute to that, which makes it so unique to each individual. There are certain things, aspects that if we understand about ourselves, about our brains and the way they work, and how we can have more control over our thoughts and our emotions, that it helps us navigate life, I would say, a little bit smoother and with a much more breadth of a perspective and ease, if you will. HM7791 says hi from South Africa, Cape Town. How you doing? Thank you for joining. What work do you do? I am an entrepreneur, but I am also a life coach, life and health coach, hence my handle. So if you don't follow me, that's what I do. You've probably seen if you do follow me, you see my messages. But yeah, that's what I do. And I also, men's jewelry is one of the things I do, and a couple other businesses that I help manage, and COO, co-founder type of deal. Denise says, yes. Life coach, yes, absolutely. Yes, you're right. I'm happy you invited me in. Thank you. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Hot 142CE, 100%. That's the thing. That's the thing that I live by. Man, I gotta catch up with these comments. HM says, a very holistic perspective where trained psychologists focus in specific therapeutic interventions. Yes, absolutely. I mean, hopefully it made sense to everybody. Also, let me know if anything I said was like, if you were confused or it didn't make sense. I'm happy to expand on that a little bit more. For Poppy V says, I love all you said. Thank you for this event. You're welcome. What do you think about attachment disorders and trauma? Whew. Attachment disorders and trauma. Trauma is such a huge one. Coming from a person that I experienced a lot of trauma, not just from the military, but even before the Marines as well, I can understand it. And it has to do with my perspective has to do with how we are as animals, like because we are animals, and it is within our DNA, and our fight or flight mode, right, kicks in, right? So when you when you ever experience that feeling of like when you were afraid or something like that, and you have like this adrenaline rush, that is your body literally putting all the blood and all the focus on your muscles and your main organs for you to be able to run or defend yourself, right? So it is how our bodies is made. And when you experience trauma, it is fear, right? Typically is a traumatic event has to do with either like fear, or some sort of adrenaline, in which chemically there's a lot going on with the brain, and so it remembers that, right? It's because it does not want to experience that again. So that's what trauma, and from my perspective, is, and that's what it makes it so powerful, because of the chemical compound in which that event, when that event happens, that it makes you, it's difficult to get rid of, and there's deep emotions attached to those memories. So trauma is one that, because I experienced it and I lived it, I can understand how difficult it is for people to manage that, and how challenging it is to live with it. And I think two things happen. One, which is the majority of people, they get stuck in this kind of like a repeat, right? It's just like replay over and over and over. It just keeps happening, and they feel like they can't control it. They feel like they can't tap out of that. And I think it's just a matter of teaching people. This is what I had to do on how to control that, on how to come to peace with myself and with my mind. And I started doing meditations and a lot of I guess mental work, if you want to if you want to call it, where you just practice calming the mind, practice really calming yourself down, and really taking more control over your, not only your physical body but also your mind, right? Being able to say, yeah, I don't want to think about that, and be able to actually do it. And then there's the healing portion, right? And the healing portion, it's more of the emotional part of it, right? So we're just talking on a chemical level here, but then the healing portion is super important, because that there's also emotions attached to it, and there's a process of being able to let go, being able to accept and forgive either yourself and or other folks who may have been involved in your trauma. So yeah, it's a heavy one, but I am living proof that you can come out of it without, personally myself, I believe that you don't have to really indulge yourself in a bunch of medication. Some people do need it, and I respect all of that, but I also believe that you can come out of it, and you can really, if you're willing to put the work and are devoted to it, you can really heal from your trauma. And it's a beautiful thing. That tightness of the chest goes away. You're able to breathe so nicely, and the fogginess and all of that goes away, and you get clear skies, and it's a beautiful feeling. I do have a trauma course that I teach people. The people that have gone through severe trauma, like some of my clients with like rape, it's a big one, unfortunately, which I help clients really heal from traumatic events like that. That's my input on trauma. Wow, I'm really far behind. Quitting isn't an option. Perseverance through all obstacles, 100%, Denise. Quitting, yeah, I'm not gonna, I get really deep into this stuff, but quitting it's just a thought, right? It just adapt. If it didn't work out, if you really are passionate about it, then let that be your motivation, which is why it's important to have clear motivations on things. And it's important to have clear understanding with yourself, like what is important to you, and all those things, right? HM7791 says, how will you do an intervention, psychotherapy? How will I do an intervention or psychotherapy? So I'm not sure I understand that question. Like, what do you mean exactly? Can you expand a little bit more on that? Oh, my moderator. The Quanta Blonde, thank you so much. I don't know if she's still here. That is my lady. She's here to help me out with all these questions. I'm very far behind. HM says, if you suffer from DID, how did you assist? Okay, would you ego state therapy work? So I did do therapy you speak of solution-focused interventions. So obviously you're very knowledgeable on this topic, but yes, I did do therapy. It didn't really help me because my only problem with therapy, which is why I chose the life coach side of the house, is that I like to be able to connect with someone that's gone through trauma, that I feel like they understand me. And it's different when, with a therapist, and then there are very good therapists, and I have nothing against therapists, but they're very by the book and very, it can be effective for some people. It was not effective for me because I felt like a disconnect. It was very much like they just want to hear you say what you have to say, and they give you some tools, but I want to have a connecting conversation with someone that's like, hey, I know how you feel. I really do. You probably feel this way. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly. So I just did it on my own, to be honest. And I think when I broke down all the way to the bottom, and I hit rock bottom, and I remember that day, like I'll never forget it. I was in my car, and I was just ready to just not be on this earth anymore. To be honest, I feel desperate. I feel like I couldn't escape all the negativity, right? I lost my wife. I just got out of the Marine Corps. I lost everything, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was really, really depressed. I had night terrors. I had PTSD. I had anxiety up the wazoo. Like my world was very like intense at all times, even when I would go to sleep. And I, had no money when some things happened, and I ended up like delivering Amazon packages. I just reached rock bottom, and I remember crying my eyes out and saying like, I can't do this anymore. And I didn't quit, but I felt defeated. And I cried a lot. I did, and I just let it out, and I felt I was very lonely. I didn't have my family, I didn't have anybody with me, so it was just me. And I just said, I don't want to live like this anymore. And I went to sleep. I woke up the next day, and I said, I'm done with this. And I threw all the alcohol away, and I would go out. I went outside. I closed my eyes. I felt the sun in my face, and I kind of like felt the wind in my face, and I started to just almost like the warmth of the sun was comforting, because I had felt so cold. Even though I lived in Southern California at the time, I feel so cold inside. And, it brought tears to my eyes, and I was like, I just want to live. I just want to live in peace. And it was at that moment, that I said, I need to get serious about this. I need to get serious with myself. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get better. And that's what it took for me. And I just started to devote time, right? I started learning about meditation. I started journaling. I started really dealing with my emotions. I wanted to understand why I had so much anger, what pain had done to me. And this is my first tattoo. I always share with everybody is my very first tattoo I ever got is with pain comes strength. And it's just, that resonates so deeply for me. And that is what made me really want to learn about myself and understand myself and understand why I had all these emotions and get serious about changing my life. So hopefully that answers your question. HM7791. Sandy says, thanks for the advice. It really is good to hear. You're absolutely welcome. Okay. So relaxed in music, glad you like it. It is about expressing internalization emotions. How? HM, you have a lot of great questions. Living is a general approach. What does dopamine do? So yeah, dopamine is a chemical. Obviously, obviously all of you know that has a huge effect in how we feel, right? It does produce a lot of good, like a lot of the happiness, and when you have a dopamine release, right, which is a chemical in your brain, it does. You can feel that burst of energy, and that huge, like brighter, happier sort of feeling comes from that. So, living is a general approach, yes, but living with dopamine is what makes the happiness, right? And I guess that's what I was trying to deliver. I'm not sure what your question is, but yeah, I'm just trying to explain how things, our thoughts and our experiences have physical effects, and from a feeling perspective, psychological, but also chemically in our bodies, and how that can affect us. So understanding on how to calm down and how to really relaxing and how to deal with those moments can really make a huge difference in our experience here living on Earth. Does that make sense? I am really far behind. Okay, we got 29 in comments. If someone having dual personality, like our best friend, so how do you handle it? Dual personalities, ooh. I don't know much about that to be able to speak on that, so I'm not going to. But that is an answer. I guess I would just say, from just my opinion, that dual personality folks, just don't judge them, right? And as long as they're not a harm to you, and they have this dual personality disorder, and it's not harmful to you, then, and just be open to them, just love them, just don't judge them. And I think that's what I would say. If they are aggressive, or you feel endangered or anything like that, then obviously maybe think about, not maybe, you should definitely not have that relationship with that person. But if it's a healthy one, then just don't judge them, and just be open-minded to it. We there's a lot of that we don't understand still, but that would be my advice. I don't know if that's helpful. Got to go. Have a work meeting. Have a fabulous, healthy day. Thank you, Denise. She's probably gone by this point. Hello from San Diego, California. How's it going? Paul, thank you for your support. Sandy says, so cool to talk to. Thank you. Oh my gosh, no joke. You low-key remind me of Caitlyn Jenner. Thank you. Foxy Lee says, hi, how's it going, everybody? Not all so wrong. We have a lot of comments here. Holy crap. You will make people think better about themselves. I can't make anybody do anything, but I definitely want to encourage everybody to think better of themselves, because it's a thought. It's all thoughts that we have, right? So yeah, Foxy says, I'm from South Africa, 33 years old. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for talking to me. You're welcome. Read the book, Peter Levine. I will. HM, I will. Let me write that down. Definitely will. Peter, let me write it down. I love when people give me, whoops, spelled that wrong. Give me books, recommend books to read or things like that. Like, I love that. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. HM7791. Thank you so much for that. 17 Sonal says, please give me my answer because I have seen lots of people. Yeah, I believe I answered your question, Sonal. Let me know if that helps. I know it was very broad, but I'm also going to be very honest with you guys. If I don't know something, I don't know everything. If I don't know something, I will tell you, hey, I really don't know. I don't bullshit people or pretend to know things that I don't know. So, yeah, I'm sorry if that wasn't helpful, but I'm not too familiar or on the enough to to have an opinion about dual personalities, I would just say if it's a healthy relationship, then just be open-minded and be kind, and just don't judge them. Paul says the ultimate source of strength, comfort, forgiveness, and healing is Jesus. Thank you for sharing that, Paul. Really appreciate your comment. It's all good things, and I accept all of that. HM7791 says we all carry a blueprint of traumatic events in childhood and/or attachment, which manifest in the subconscious. Yes, very knowledgeable person here. Absolutely 100% the subconscious mind. That is where trauma is stored. You're 100% right. And so a lot of the trauma healing that I do with my clients, that's exactly what we do. We go into tap into the subconscious mind and we deal with it at that level. But yes, it is some of it. There's some evidence out there and studies that it's a DNA cellular level type of deal. In which there are certain traits that have been passed on by generations, but you can redo that. There is a lot of new research, actually, incoming research that with sounds, sound waves, and vibrations that can really change the body at a cellular level. So it's incredible. But yes, 100%. Trauma is a big one, and it does affect all of us in some way, shape, or form, but it is something that you can deal with. So yes, Sandy says, so I do got depressed, what I go through. I think you're trying to say you get depressed, what, I'm not sure I understand, but I try my best not to take it on. So you are depressed because of the things that you've been through. So I think is what I'm reading. Another thing is you don't want to take a shit storm of things, right? Of thoughts. So like, oh my God, that can be very overwhelming. So I like to work with my clients. I always narrow it down to 3 things, right? 3 things that if you could just only pick 3 things that you really could change about yourself, what would they be? And from there we kind of dig deeper and we get down to the root of it, to the very, very root of it, and you come to find out that it's such a much deeper thing than what you thought. And that's where we start to deal with those things one at a time. And that typically, when you heal one branch or one tree, if you will, that impact will have a positive solution on many of other things, traumas or experiences that you've had. So oftentimes, like it's dealing with one thing can heal and benefit you of a bunch of other things. So 100% taking it one day at a time, getting help, whether it's with a psychologist or with a therapist or life coach, whatever route you want to go to, can definitely help you too. Someone that can guide you, someone that can give you the tools that can help you to navigate that. It's also very, very helpful. Jay Kosov, which he already left, says, I'm leaving. I'm starting my day at work. Thank you so much for the great words. Absolutely, you're welcome. HM7791, have you tried EMDR? Eye movement? Yes. I know about it. I've never tried it, but I do want to look. That's the second time someone has mentioned that, so I am gonna look into that for sure. Thank you for sharing that. Undercover Kika or Kitka, do you feel empathic? Many people who have gone through a series of pain and suffering are empathic. I am very empathic, 100%. I mean, you can't be a life coach and not be empathic. I mean, you could. I shouldn't say that, but I'm very empathetic, and I'm very proud of that because I'm able to feel people, and that's how I'm able to help, right? If you're coming to me with some sort of issue, whatever, trauma or stress or whatever it is, and if I just have IQ but I don't have EQ as well, and I'm not able to have that empathy, we're not going to have that connection, and you're not going to trust me. You're not going to feel, empowered, right? And so that human connection that you can do via empathy is very powerful. At the same time, I also know when to give empathy and also when to be like, hey, you got to snap out of that, right? And that's what I love about being a coach, is that therapists can't do that kind of stuff, where I will tell you, like, you need to snap out of that. You really think that's really constructive thinking? And I'm not worried about like being by the book or things like that in the sense of how I deliver the message. I am very, very careful. But there are times to be empathic, and there are times for people that some people just need to hear, like, hey, you just gotta stop thinking like this. You gotta stop this. I have fired clients before who weren't serious about, achieving their goals. And I said, look, you don't want to do the work. And so you're telling me you're thirsty. I'm giving you a glass of water, but you refuse to drink it. And so, yes, I am very empathic, but also at the same time, I know not to be over empathetic when it comes to what I do. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see that watch, boss. Okay, sure. There you go. You're a watch guy, Josh. I love watches. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. Thank you a lot. You're very welcome. We've been trying to get in contact with you about your car's extended warranty. Oh my god, that is hilarious. Thank you. That's a good one. I get a call every single day about that. Like, oh my gosh, it's just hilarious. Thank you for making me laugh. I appreciate that a lot. That's good. Aprendo inglés contigo, gracias. Yes, I do speak Spanish. I do speak some Italian and a little bit of French and stuff. But I do English mostly here. So if you do not speak English, I apologize. HM7791, multiple personality disorder, gets treated by a psychologist focusing on clinical Yes, that is very true, which is why it is not my field, which is why I don't have a solid answer. So yes, ego states. You enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. All right, looks like everybody is heading out. You're very welcome, everybody. Hello from Panama City Beach. How's it going? All right. Well, I hope this was helpful. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, everybody, for being with me today. Go out there, have an amazing day. I hope that this stuff resonated with you. And again, if you want to watch it back, go to my YouTube channel. You can watch this live and all the lives that I do every single day. I do lives Monday through Saturdays at 11 Central US time. So if you want to join me tomorrow, I'll be here again with a different topic of discussion. Thank you so much, everybody. Have an amazing, amazing and beautiful and fulfilled and empowering day. You're all amazing human beings. I love you all. Until next time. Bye.